Hello everyone, welcome you all to the next session on real numbers of Class 10 Mathematics. In this session, let's learn about fundamental theorem of arithmetic. Every composite number can be expressed or factorized as a product of primes, and this factorization is unique apart from the order in which the prime factors occur. This is what we mean by fundamental theorem of arithmetic. That is, every composite number can be expressed as a product of primes, and this prime factorization is unique apart from the order in which the factors occur. Here are a few examples for us. The first number is 1771, and that is equal to 7 into 11 into 23. This means that the prime factorization of 1771 is 7, 11 and 23. You can see the numbers, the 7, 11 and 23 are all prime numbers, and you cannot factorize this further. So this is what we mean by prime factorization, and we have learnt all this prime factorization in our earlier classes. Now what is the fundamental theorem of arithmetic says here is a composite number, that is 1771 is a composite number here. It can be expressed as a product of primes. So the primes here are 7, 11 and 23. And this factorization is unique. What do you mean by that? That is 7, 11 and 23, when you take the product of this, only you will get 1771. If you take the product of this, you will not get any other number apart from 1771. You can multiply this with any other number. If at all you multiply this with the next prime or some other prime number 5, you won't get this 1771. So 1771 can be expressed only by this manner, that is 7 into 11 into 23. Of course, you can change the order, that doesn't matter, and that won't be a problem here, because 11 into 7 into 23 or 23 into 7 into 11, all the three, any other combinations will give you the same answer. The product will not be changed if you change the order. But if you change the prime numbers, if you're going to have some other factor like 5 or 13 or any other number, it won't give you this number, that is, it won't give you the number 1771. And this is what we mean by the factorization is unique, that is, you'll have a unique factorization. And you can check with the other numbers also, not only these composite numbers, you can check this with any other composite numbers. And you have the next number like 10626, that is 10,626. You can see the prime numbers are 2, 3, 7, 11 and 23, and these are the prime factors of the given number. Similarly, 5313 has prime factors 3, 7, 11 and 23. So the prime factors, you can change the order, you cannot change the product here. The product has to be same here, because if you change any one of the prime number or any one of the prime factors in this, it won't give you the composite number. So for this composite number, that is for the composite number 5313, the factorization will be only 3, 7, 11 and 23. That is 3 into 7 into 11 into 23 is the only product that gives you 5313. This is what we are given here as a note. The prime factorization of a natural number is unique except for the order of its factors. The order can be changed, that won't be a problem. It won't affect our product, but the prime factorization has to be unique. Let's see some problems from exercise 1.2. The first problem is express each number as a product of its prime factors. So we are given 5 subdivisions here, and we are asked to express each number as a product of its prime factors. This is not a new new method for us, because we have learnt all this in our lower classes. Hence, I'm going to solve only one subdivision to show how to write the steps here. So the first subdivision we have here is 140, and here is a prime factorization of it. So the first prime number that we have for 140 is 2. I have chosen 2 here. So 2 times of 70 gives you 140. And then 2 times of 35 gives you 70. 5 times of 7 gives you 35. And 7 times of 1 gives you 7. So I am able to express 140 as some prime factors. That is 140 is equal to 2 into 2 into 5 into 7. Thus, I have expressed the given number as a product of its prime factors. Though there are two 2's we have, this can also be written as 2 power 2 into 5 into 7. So, this is also allowed. So, using this methodology, I would like you to try the remaining subdivisions as homework. We'll move on to the next problem. The second question is, find the LCM and HCF of the following pairs of integers and verify that LCM into HCF equal to product of the two numbers. So we are given two numbers here. We have to find the LCM and HCF of those two numbers, and we have to verify the very important relationship between the numbers, that is LCM into HCF equal to product of the two numbers. So this helps us to find even one of the missing numbers if we know HCF and LCM. Let's see how to verify the given relation. Let's consider the second subdivision here. I'm going to do the second subdivision for you here. Here it is. The question numbers are 510 and 92. So let's find the LCM and HCF, for which I need to find the prime factorization of these two numbers. I'm not showing you the prime factorization here, rather you can work out your prime factorization and you can show it here. Let me show only for 510 as we have done here. 2, 2, 5, 5 and 3, 8, 5 and when I start with the 5, 1, 7. So this is how I get the prime factorization of 510, which is nothing but 2 into 3 into 5 into 17. Similarly, we can try for 92 and then express it as a product of its prime factors. So we are done with the prime factorization of the given numbers. Now we have to go for finding HCF and LCM. As we know, HCF is nothing but the highest common factor for both the numbers. So we'll consider the numbers here, which are the common factors. We have 2, 3, 5 and 13. We have all these are factors, but there is only one factor which is common for both the numbers, which is nothing but 2. Hence our HCF of the given numbers is going to be 2. Let's move on to find the LCM from this prime factorization. So we already have our HCF. So let's start with the HCF here. The first 2, let us put it here. Let us write the HCF. There is a first common factor which is also a multiple here. Then with the remaining factors, that is we have 3 into 5 into 17 and 2 and 23. We don't have anything common in these two. So let us write everything here and multiply. That gives you your LCM, that is your least common multiple. So this is a process to write the LCM of any two given numbers when you write it as a product of its prime factors. So you can check LCM is nothing but the first number is going to be your HCF 2 into all the remaining factors, product of all the remaining factors, that is 2 and then you have 3, then you have 5, then you have 17 and the last one is 23. So LCM is equal to 2 into 2 into 3 into 5 into 17 into 23, and that gives you 23,460. So we are done with HCF and we are done with LCM. Let's see what are we supposed to prove. We need to prove LCM into HCF equal to product of the numbers, for which let me find out the product of LCM and HCF. So here it is, HCF into LCM is equal to 2 into 23,460, that gives us 46,920 as a product of LCM and HCF. So here is a product of LCM and HCF. Now we have to prove this is equal to or verify this is equal to product of the two numbers. The numbers that we have here is 510 and 92. So let's find the product of it, which also turns out to be 46,920. So you can check it out from this. It is LCM into HCF is equal to 510 into 92, which is nothing but the product of the given two numbers. Hence, the required result has been verified. So this is the process of doing the verification for the remaining two subdivisions, that is for the first subdivision and also for the third subdivision. So these two are going to be your homework for the day. Let's move on to the next problem. Find the LCM and HCF of the following integers by applying the prime factorization method. This is a part of the previous problem, but we have 3 numbers here. In the previous problem, we had only 2 numbers. Let's see how to do it. Here is the first subdivision for you. The numbers are 12, 15 and 21. So the prime factorization of 12 is 2 into 2 into 3, and prime factorization of 15 is 3 into 5, and for 21 is 3 into 7. So we are done with the prime factorization of all the 3 given numbers. Let's move on to find the HCF. So as we know, HCF is nothing but the product of, common factor of all the 3 numbers. So from all the 3 you can see the number 3 is the only common factor for all the 3 given numbers. So this tells us our HCF is going to be 3. So we are done with the HCF. Now let's move on to find the LCM. As I was telling you, let's start with the HCF for LCM. So here is a 3. So if at all, apart from 3, look at the other factors of the given numbers. We have 2 into 2, then 5 and then 7, out of which nothing is common here. If at all I have anything as common, I should write it only once. But I have 2 into 2 for 12, so that 2 into 2 is here, and there is 1 5, and that is also written, and there is 1 7, that is also written here. So your LCM of the given numbers is nothing but 2 into 2 into 3 into 5 into 7, which is nothing but 420. So LCM of the given numbers is 420, whereas HCF of the given numbers is 3. So using this methodology, we can solve the remaining 2 subdivisions, and the other 2 subdivisions are for your homework. Let's move on to the next problem. Check whether 6 power n can end with the digit 0 for any natural number n. So we have to check whether 6 power n will end with a 0 for any natural number n. Let's say the natural number n is 0. I'm sorry, not 0, n is 1. So 6 power 1. When I say 6 power 1, it is nothing but 6. Let's me find out 6 power 2. That gives you, that is 6. So I can keep trying out. So this is going to be 2, 1, 6 and so on. Now you can see from these 3, the last digit of 6 power 1 is 6. 6 power 2 is also 6. 6 power 3 is also 6. And it goes on. But I cannot conclude just by showing some examples. This is for us to understand. It is not at all possible. But how am I going to put it as a proper statement? We are learning about factorization and all those things. So let us try to explain this in terms of a factorization. Now, if at all any number ends with a 0, it means that it will be divisible by 10. For example, you can check the previous number 510. If you have 510, it will be divisible by 10. If you say 240, it will also be divisible by 10. If I say 3500, it will be divisible by 10 and also by 100. So you can take any number that ends with a 0. You can see those numbers will be definitely divisible by 10. Now, when you say any number is divisible by 10, it means that it will have 2 and 5 as its prime factors. So when you have a number 10, it means it will have a prime factorization 2 and 5, because prime factorization of 10 is 2 and 5. Definitely 2 into 5 gives you 10. So if any number ends with a digit 0, it will be divisible by 10. That is, the prime factorization of the given number will have 2 and 5 as its factors. It doesn't mean that the given number will have only 2 and 5, but it will have 2 and 5 also as its prime factors. Now let us see the prime factors of 6. Prime factors of 6 are nothing but 2 and 3. That is, 6 is equal to 2 into 3. Now when we have 6 as 2 into 3, 6 power n is nothing but 2 into 3 whole power n. Now you can see even 6 or 6 power n, they don't have 5 as a common, 5 as a, we have 2, we don't have 5. This is not our, we have only 3 here, we don't have 5 in it. So when you want any number to have 0 as the ending digit, it should have 2 and 5 as its prime factor. But we have only 2, we don't have 5 here. So 5 is not in the prime factorization of 6 power n. Hence 6 power n cannot end with the digit 0 for any natural number n. This can be extended to any number also. You can even check with 4 power n or 5 power n or 7 power n. The explanation is going to be same for any number with power n. Let's move on to the next problem. Explain why 7 into 11 into 13 plus 13 and 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 plus 5 are composite numbers. So we are given two composite numbers, or we are given two numbers, and we need to explain why they are composite. So it is clear that they are composite numbers and we just have to explain why it is composite. Now, as per the statement of fundamental theorem of arithmetic, we know that any composite number can be expressed as a product of its prime factors. So, we have to consider the given number, that is this 7 into 11 into 13 plus 13, or this 7 into 6 into 5, all this. We need to consider this number and we have to show this as a product of its prime factors. So, let's proceed with the first problem now so that you can try the other one on your own. The number given here is 7 into 11 into 13 plus 13. You can see this is product of one, you have three factors as a product here and you have only one number here, and you can see there is a plus sign in between both the numbers, both the terms. So this means that you have two terms in the given number. So let me combine it, for which I have 13 and 13 as a common term in both. So let me factor out this 13 from the two terms, which gives me 7 into 11, that is 13 times of 7 into 11 plus 1. Now 7 into 11 is nothing but 77. So this is 77 plus 1 gives you 78. So the number is simplified to 13 into 78. Now when I find the prime factorization of 78, I can see it is nothing but 13 into 6. So I can see the given number can be written as 13 into 13 into 6. Again, the 6 can also be written as 2 into 3. Whatever it is, you can see the given number, that is 7 into 11 into 13 plus 13, has 13 and the 6 as its factors. It has more than two factors. So you have, of course, you have 1 and the number itself as a factor. You have 13 and the 6 also as its factors, and hence you can conclude that this is not a prime number. This has to be a composite number because this number is expressed as a product of its prime factors. Hence we can conclude the given number is a composite number, and the explanation is here. Similarly, try for the next subdivision, next problem, that is next part of the problem. That is 7 into 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 plus 5. So that you can conclude how it is going to be a composite number. Now, homework for the day are here. Question number 1, the remaining subdivisions. Question number 2, remaining subdivisions. Question number 3, remaining subdivisions. Question number 4, you're going to try it on your own. Question number 6, the remaining part, that is we did only one part, the other part you can take it out. Then question number 7. So these are your homework problems for the day. So complete it with whatever you have learnt in this session. It will give you an idea to solve the entire exercise. Thank you.